Well, India bid a tearful, a painful farewell to the 23-year-old who's become a nation's hero today. A young girl who stirred the country, stirred our conscience, and has seen an unprecedented wave of anger, grief, outrage all across the country. Today she was cremated, but even as India is pledging to not let her death be forgotten, there's absolutely no end to the assaults on women. Those rapes, of course, carry on, and more shame every day. All that and lots more is what we are looking at. Over the next 1 hour, we're going to be joined by our special panel. The challenges, of course, on the road to change are going to be plenty. We're looking at, can this anger and outrage lead to real change? That's our first question this evening. Over the next 2 hours, we're also going to be looking at the government's response. Too little, too late. All of that and more coming up in just a bit. But the 23-year-old's body has come back to India early morning from Singapore and was cremated within hours. That's, of course, the kind of homage that India is paying this evening. And we're seeing images from Calcutta and from Jantar Mantar here in Delhi. Once again this evening, cold December night, we're seeing India coming out in support, in solidarity of that young girl, in solidarity actually for all the women of this country, also coming out for its own security, coming out for its own sanity there. So those are the kind of scenes that we're seeing, and while we're looking at images only from Delhi and Kolkata, we're going to be going across to other cities in just a bit. People have gathered here in large numbers. So the 23-year-old cremated today, and in fact in what's being described as a first, it really is unprecedented. It's been an outpouring of grief and anger on the streets of India. Amidst all of this, we saw that that special Air India aircraft was received at the Delhi airport around 3:30 in the morning by none other than the Prime Minister and the Congress chief Sonia Gandhi. They were present there in person. The two met the family and consoled the distraught parents and the brothers of this young girl. The body was then taken to her Delhi residence before being cremated, escorted by more than 20 police vehicles. There were 15 buses filled with riot control teams which were part of the convoy. There was near total clampdown. Traffic police officials were on duty on the entire route between the airport and this area where the girl lived. Over 2,000 policemen deployed near the girl's home where the body was taken. And more details now emerging as neighbors speak out of this young girl. Among the details we're getting just in the last couple of minutes is that she was to get married in February. Her mother this evening, traumatized, had to be rushed to hospital. She spent some time there before doctors gave her the all clear and said that it was just her trauma. She hadn't been sleeping or resting well, but the family's nightmare, of course, carries on. Well, India this evening, once again on the streets, protesting, marching, all of it in complete peace. Let's now go across to Kate Kiangre joining us this evening from Jantar Mantar. Kate, this is the similar kind of scenes that we're seeing, all those people sitting there peacefully in protest, lighting candles, remembering our hero.
Well, that's right, Natasha. If you could just show you a little bit more of the shots. People are talking about change. People are talking about bringing a change not just institutionally but also individually. Many people also talking about the need for protest to result in something more than just a lot of lip service. A lot of people feeling as well that politicians came into the picture far too late. This was a great opportunity to engage with the protesters and something that the government completely misread and mismanaged. Let's try and get in a view from here. You've come here with your whole family, including your mother as well. As a parent, you're obviously worried, but it has this, it took a tragedy of this proportion to actually get people to come out and protest.
Yeah, that's right. One of the reasons I'm here is because I have a daughter who's 17-year-old, and there is a deep sense of helplessness. I really don't know. She's going to go to college, she's going to be on the streets all alone, my wife is going to be around, but there's a deep sense of helplessness, and that's what I'm worried about. That's one of my biggest fear, ma'am, So.
In fact, you also talked about your mother-in-law, saying that a few years ago, maybe 10 years ago, when she was working, she could come home alone at night at 10:30, but that's something that you certainly are not going to do alone.
Oh, no way. No more of that. 10:30, forget about 10:30. Even 8 o'clock is a big question if I can come alone from work. Not at all. Yeah.
As a young student, many students like you came even to India Gate last weekend. You were there as well. You've come back here. What is it that's bringing you to these protests?
I am very sad to see the way people are struggling here. They're pouring out their voices, they're crying, they're sitting in this cold, and they're even sleeping here. And when I sit at home and see this, I feel like I need to be there. That's making me, I was sitting there and honestly, I was actually crying to see everybody. I saw the policemen taking their lathi and going, and I said, God, I don't want them to be beating these people because all they're doing is just asking for help. And I think that's what, the government needs to understand. We're just raising our voice. We are saying, you come, we'll sit down with you and talk, but please at least come out and listen to us.
In fact, many are seeing this as a catalyst. It's more something that Delhi has been seen as a very insensitive city that will not go out to help someone else. But this, many are thinking, will be the catalyst for change.
Well, I want to say that I don't want to be cynical. I hope it changes for good. Yeah.
Does these protests, do they bring you hope?
It does definitely bring a lot of hope because I feel that people are all thinking together in the same platform. Everybody is thinking about it. Yes, I see a lot of anger, a lot of insensitive requests are also people making. But you should understand that let's not shrug it off saying that, oh, people are asking people to be hanged. But there are deep sense of anger and fear are there people. But somewhere, I was just talking to one Madam Madhu who comes a lot in TV. She said, I was just telling her I feel very helpless. She said, don't do that. There is a lot of positive is going to come out of this. And you will see that a lot of change is going to happen in India. So I'm standing here with a positive hope that I'll be able to give a safer city for my daughter. So.
All right, a lot of people in fact here who are hopeful that protests like these, which have seen a lot of anger, will hopefully result in something good. Natasha?
Right, that of course is our collective hope that all this anger is going to be channelized, is going to be translated into something concrete. We will have something to show for it at the end of the day. Perhaps a beginning has been made. Before I get on with my special panel joining me this evening, I just like to ask the question, you do believe that all of this anger, all of this outrage is going to be translated by us into concrete action? Do all of you believe that? That we're all going to sort of... Well, okay, that's like an optimistic note to begin on. We're going to get started right away. Well, joining us now, Prasoon Joshi. Also, we'll be joined by Anuaga in just a bit, and also Aarti Jairat, the senior journalist with me in the studio. Thanks both for coming in. Prasoon, yesterday we saw you at those protests in Mumbai. We saw very emotional Jaya Bachchan there, also part of those protests. What do you believe, Prasoon, is the one reason why this, perhaps one of the most brutal attacks that we've come across ever, has really become the tipping point for a nation?
Yes. I think one thing is very clear, that this is not something which has happened for the first time. But what has happened for the first time is what somebody was initially, a lot of people were cynical about it, but gradually I think everybody, even the political fraternity, is also realizing that there is something very genuine, there's some genuine outrage is there, and this is unprecedented. This has never happened before, that so many people without having a leader of a sort are on the street. They are on the street because there is a lot of pent up anger. There's a lot of frustration. Women in this, I remember one girl telling me in my office in Delhi some time back that when we used to come out of the Delhi bus and we used to go and take a bath, because we used to feel so dirty from inside. And we used to feel like taking a bath, and that's the kind of gauge, that's the kind of discomfort our girls and women have been living with for a very, very long time. Right. And I think this is the time when everything is kind of a tipping point. I see it, and I see it as a very positive sign. And it's very, very important that at this juncture, when these positive signs are shown, people who actually know what to do with this positive energy, to direct it in a right direction, whether it's media, whether it's people who know law and order, people who know how system works, how democracy works. I think all those people have to collectively put their brains together and direct this whole outrage in the right direction and find some decisive steps which should come out of it. Because when I'm talking to you right now, I know a lot has been said. Everything has been which needs to be said about this issue has been said. Right. Whether it is about
which is why, of course, let's look at real action. let's look at what this anger can really achieve at the end of the day, how we can bring about that change, which has just taken its own sweet time, but really can't wait anymore. Stay with us, Prasoon. Anuaga, you're also with us, ma'am. You know, people are just so angry. There's anger at the system, anger at our leaders, there's anger at the police. Do you believe that it's also time to be angry at ourselves? There are just so many people write in to say that there's been a conspiracy of silence. We've all been a part of it. We're going to try and fix that in just a minute, but I'll put that to you. You know, we're sort of angry, we're targeting everybody else, which is very fair. It's time for the change. It's time for a shake-up. But what about the fact that there are all of us, I mean, I'm sure many of you would agree too, who've sort of seen a woman being harassed and have sort of looked the other way or not done anything about it, not reported it, had an unpleasant experience but kept quiet about it, been told by our families that ghar ki baat hai, let it just stay within the four walls. Are we sort of just angry at ourselves? You see a lot of this anger directed at ourselves.
There's no question. Look, any change can, you know, obviously, you know, you expect the government, the political class, the administrative class to, you know, help bring that change. But that change must also come from people. I mean, you know, look, these men who were involved in this assault will be punished. I think there's no doubt about it. You know, there's so much public outcry. They will be punished, and they will be punished severely.
India's #1 news app just got even better. Download NDTV's new app. Fully optimized for retina display. Full screen view. Faster response time. And Sudoku. NDTV's new iPad app. Download now.